Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Esther Mokpariola. We sincerely apologize for coming on behind schedule. Now, from the handshakes of bilateral relations to collective destinies carved out as regions, lessons from globalization have shown that no nation can attain prosperity with the mindset of individuality, and Africa isn't an exception. But in trying to juggle between regional integration and national sovereignty, recent years have shown that the continent remains very diverse and complex to possibly head in one direction at the same time. And so we ask, what are your thoughts on the role of West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS, in fostering integration and development? You can join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TVC News NG. We take a report now, and Africa Today will be right back. Welcome.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, was set up on May the 28th, 1975 to promote the economic integration of member states. The call for a strong and single currency started in 2000 when 5 ECOWAS members formed the West African Monetary Zone, aimed at establishing a currency whose exchange can be at par with the euro. Adopting a single currency for member states was again on the front burner at the ongoing second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament, with the Speaker, National Assembly of Niger Republic, pushing for the implementation of the policy, a move that was applauded by some parliamentarians. But not everyone is in agreement with the policy. A differing opinion is offered by the first Vice Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, who believes his country, Nigeria, should rather focus on making the Naira stronger and more competitive.
No, I'm not in support. I'm not in support of single currency. Why would I support single currency when we have not even found our foot? Why are we supporting our single currency? Remember that the UK, despite being member of EU for a very long time, still kept their pound sterling. That's how to develop your economy. Your statistics must be relevant. I don't have to collect that statistics of my country by relating it to other countries. Let me know how strong my Naira is before I talk about single currency.
He posits that so far, the only achievement of ECOWAS is the free movement of people across the sub-region and the ECOWAS passport. But these policies have not stopped the intimidation and harassment of West African nationals moving from their country to other West African nations. The question remains, how much of the integration goals of ECOWAS would be achieved with the adoption of a single currency, considering the polarity of the region?
Welcome now. Well, before we get into the discussion of the day, let's update you on the top stories around Africa. A former militia leader from the Central African Republic known as Colonel Rambo has for the first time faced judges in The Hague on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. At least 3 people, one of them believed to be a Finland national, are feared dead after a light aircraft they were traveling in crashed in southwestern Zimbabwe. Well, Angolan President João Lourenço has compared the fight against corruption in his country to touching a wasp's net, a day after his predecessor, José Eduardo dos Santos, refuted allegations he emptied the state's finances. Now joining me from our Abuja studio to look at the role of West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS, in fostering integration and development is Edwin Snowe, Member of Parliament in Liberia. And shortly, I will be having on Skype Nameke Obiariri, a policy analyst. But first off, let me thank you, my guest from Abuja, Edwin Snowe. Thank you for your time on Africa Today. So let's briefly start with this. Briefly walk us through now on some of the policies and outcomes that have been so far reached at the ongoing ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja.
Thank you very much. Well, as you know, we are currently sitting our second ordinary sitting of the ECOWAS Parliament, and that sitting is going to last for almost a month because we'll be looking at the community's budget, the Finance and Administration Committee, the Admin and Finance Committee of the ECOWAS body will be meeting beginning this week, tomorrow, and thereafter they will send the budget of the community to the Parliament to render its opinion on the budget. For the time being, we've been having workshops, we've been having discussions, we did our country report. We've now been able to review the reports of the 15 member states to know what is obtaining out of those countries, to know what is happening, where do we tend to go as a community. And I can say to you that ECOWAS have made significant progress from where we've come from, where we are today. Gone are the days in the 90s, in the 80s when our region was nothing but military zones, when you had all of the military leaders, when we heard more of ECOMOG and than ECOWAS. Today, I think it's a different region, and the Parliament is standing strong, and the Parliament is now having a new day because we now have the enhancement power of the Parliament, where we can now render co-decision in some of the decisions from the community, from the authorities or head of states. We can render opinion on the budget of the community, and I think the Parliament is moving forward. Besides the country report and the workshop we had like today on child trafficking, we are now awaiting the budget of the community so that together we can see those programs. We're now graduating to a program budget where we can see how best ECOWAS can enhance its visibility and awareness, and then formulate programs for the nationals of our community.
So there have been questions with regard into ECOWAS's role in fostering integration and development in the bloc, and some say it hasn't done a lot in terms of achieving that objective. How would you assess the role so far? Would you say it is beyond expectation, or it's yet to get to that point?
I think ECOWAS has done well. Are we there yet? No. I see the glass more as a glass half full than a glass half empty. And I think we are making significant progress. We may not be fully there, but and you must give room for our critics. So one that says that we've not done much yet, well, let's listen to them. Let's see what recommendations they could come up with. But I would say as a community, we've done well, we're doing well, and I still see the glass as a glass half full than a glass half empty. So I think, yes, a lot needs to be done. But as a community, we've graduated that. Now we're talking about the single currency, for example, that we're graduating to. We're looking at 2020, even if it's not realistic. Countries that are prepared will move forward. Our integration program, our free trade, the common external tariff. So there are a lot that ECOWAS is doing right now. Yes, we need to build on those things, but I think we've done well as a community from where we've come from.
Right. Now, so what are those challenges that ECOWAS is left to contend with, even though it's, from your analysis, more or less a half glass full than a half glass empty? What are those challenges that ECOWAS seems to grapple with at this point? Well,
challenges are numerous, though. But to start, let me start with the political issues, for example. Today, we still have some political situation in Guinea-Conakry. There have been some political motivated violence in that country. We have challenges in Togo. As you know, they've been having some political issues in Togo. We have a little bit in Guinea-Bissau. Those are some political challenges. But again, compared to where we've come from, where we are, and that those challenges are more about people expressing their free will to demonstrate. Sometimes the police try to resist, which we condemn all of the time, but we're getting there. Then, of course, we're looking at the single currency. The issue of the single currency is a very, very important issue because, again, if we could be like the European Union, now today we have 15 countries, we have 9 currencies. The 5 English-speaking countries, that's namely Nigeria, Liberia, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Gambia have their own currency. Then you have Guinea-Bissau, you have Guinea-Bissau use the French CFA, so it would be 8. So Guinea, Conakry, and then Cape Verde have different kind of currency, then the Francophone countries. So we are now migrating to the single currency where we'll be able to use one currency in our region, have one central bank. Sometime next week, the central bank governors of our region will be in Abuja, and we'll continue talks on the implementation of the single currency. The issue of free trade, we still have some challenges, yes. I'm one of those in the community, and this may not be a very popular view, but I'm one of those in the community that does not subscribe to Morocco and other countries from the north coming into our community block, because we have powerhouses like Nigeria that's manufacturing. We have Senegal, we have Cote d'Ivoire, you know, you have Ghana. Those countries are beginning to manufacture and then have cross-border trade. So if you bring in other countries from the west or other region, it wouldn't be more of integration, it's going to be more of political interest. And those are some of the things that we object to in ECOWAS, because we need to have a free trade liberalization where our people can interact freely, where we can trade freely, where we can migrate and know that if I come to Nigeria today, I mean, look at my dress code, for example. I mean, one wouldn't know that I'm not a Nigerian or I'm a Nigerian.
Absolutely.
Except you know, you hear me speak. So those are the kind of integrations we look at. Those are the kind of interactions we look at in our region. And again, I'm one of those that are opposed to the participation or membership of Morocco, Tunisia, and other countries, because I still think we need to build our West African bloc using Nigeria as our hub, and then from there we can build on to extend with a truly ECOWAS of peoples, then ECOWAS of just the economic interests.
Right, fine. Now, but let's look at this issue of free movement protocol that ECOWAS guarantees the rights of every citizen, you know, entry to travel freely, visa-free within ECOWAS. But now there have been reports of bribes and delays at land borders, which of course hampers this free movement protocol. What is the bloc doing in terms of tightening these loose ends?
Well, as you know, we've introduced the ECOWAS brown card. Now Senegal has adopted that, Ghana has adopted that, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia is far on our way. We hope that Nigeria, being the power hub of our community, can do likewise. We're going to have the ECOWAS brown card so that every citizen in the community, you don't have to use a passport to cross the border. You can have a brown ECOWAS card and you can go around the 15 countries. I must admit that our market women, our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, our fathers that transact through the various borders are still having some challenges. A year or two ago, we had a documentary at the ECOWAS Head of State Summit called the ECOWAS Taxi, where people were still receiving bribe from our people. We got complaints in our last country report from the community, people moving between Nigeria and Benin and having challenges between Ghana and Togo, between Liberia and Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, Liberia and Cote d'Ivoire. So there are challenges. We are having those things. But again, you know, even in a household, you're always going to have a bad apple. So yes, people of those categories, of those characters have been weeded out of the system, but we need to do more to improve free trade. I mean, I speak from Liberia. I know a case of Liberia where our market women drive distances, going across the Liberian border through Ivory Coast or through Guinea or through Sierra Leone to go and get a market to come back home and fish for the family. And then there are times when they have challenges. They are arrested, their goods are taken away. So those are things that we strongly condemn. And that is why about a month ago, the ECOWAS Parliament did a visibility study or oversight tour where we visited the Liberia-Guinean border. We interacted with citizens from both sides of the border. We did the Sierra Leone-Liberian border. We're in Agadez, Niger, people crossing their vessel going into, trying to get into Europe or going to via Libya. So those are things that the Parliament has been very engaged with in the last few years. And I think gradually we will get there. It's still a challenge. I'm not going to tell you it's not a challenge. There are people that come from right here in Niger that tell us some of the challenges they have between Nigeria and Niger. There are people that come from other countries and tell us some of the problems they're facing in the region. But again, I believe that as we graduate.
Okay, now, but okay, sorry for stopping your flow of thought, but now briefly before we go into our second segment, there's this issue that really bothers West Africa, which is terrorism and illegal migration. Now, how much is being done to address these concerns in the ECOWAS bloc?
The issue of terrorism, as you know, we've had some skirmishes across the region. We had some in Cote d'Ivoire, in Burkina Faso. We've had those kind of challenges. And that is where the security cracks come in. Because sometimes the security guy tells you, look, I respect free movement, I respect free trade, but we have to ensure that the security measures are put into place to enhance free trade and free movement. So then the free movement issue comes with its own security implications, because again, some of the guys that have been to our neighboring countries and took arms against our brothers and sisters, as you know, same color, same dress code, same language, same tribe, same everything. So those are some of the challenges that we all take. Europe, for example. The last time there was terrorist attack in Belgium, in Paris, they came from Belgium, they drove to Paris, caused the havoc, and then drove back there. So those are issues that is not limited or it's not unique to West Africa. Those are issues that are still happening around the world. Those are issues that are still a big challenge, and that's why the integrated police system or security system is very important. That's why now we have the early warning system being built in our neighboring countries. We have the ECOWAS warning system. We have other security mechanisms that have been put into place so that those cross-border terroristic attacks can be put under control, and that the perpetrators can be arrested in early faction or prevented. For better choice of words, prevented, so that they won't cause havoc on our people as we enhance free movement and free trade.
Right, now let's quickly go on a very quick break. Now we will have more discussions on this very topic when we return. Stay with us. Right now, there are currently 15 member countries in the ECOWAS regional bloc, which was established 43 years ago to promote integration in order to achieve an economic and monetary union for promoting economic growth and development in West Africa. Now, as the ECOWAS Parliament continues its second ordinary session in Nigeria, single currency policy and the lingering official acceptance of the North African and Morocco to be part of the union remains on the front burner. Well, I still have Snowe with me, Edwin Snowe, and he joins me from our Abuja studio, a Liberian parliamentarian in Nigeria. Now, let's look at this issue of single currency. Now, what value do you think this would have on member states that are thought to be, well, consuming nations?
Well, the issue of single currency, I know that there are still countries that are opposed to single currency. Liberia is in support of single currency. We believe that to enhance free trade. If I left from here, if I was to do a tour, for example, in West Africa, like I just said to you, we're talking about 8 different currencies in one community. So if I went to Guinea, I would have to change to the Guinea franc. If I flew to Abidjan, I have to go to franc CFA. If I came to Nigeria, I have to use a Naira. If I went to Ghana next door, I have to use the CD. If I go to Liberia, I have to use the Liberian dollar. If I go to Sierra Leone, I have to use a lira. So it's just the complication as a community. It's just burdensome for our people. But again, the biggest challenge we've had so far, for example, you're talking about 8 French-speaking countries in our region that have a central bank system using the French CFA that is supported by the French government. You have Nigeria that has the Naira that's to some extent still strong with the support of the oil, the economy from the oil. You have Ghana that talk about gold, cocoa, Liberia, it's not much. The price of iron ore has declined on the world market, so we're having challenges with the export of iron ore and other raw material. Then Sierra Leone, a little bit of diamond, which is not so strong with the currency. But if we were to put all of those resources in our region together to support a single currency, the ECOWAS currency, whatever that currency is named and started of, will be a strong currency. So I believe that the issue of single currency is of vital importance to our region, because if we're talking about truly integrating our region, truly putting this region together as a community, then we have to cut off all those bottlenecks that prevents our people from freely interacting or free trade, from freely, going across the border. If you went across 3 borders today in West Africa, you have to change your money 3 times. I mean, if we're talking about a community, the actual meaning of a community wouldn't define that you have to change 4 or 5 currency in just trading in the region. If I went to Guinea-Bissau today, I can't take the Naira there. I can't take the Liberian dollar there. I would have to take the euro or the US dollars to be able to convert to their currency, and it doesn't speak well for our community. So I think we need to push. Again, there are still some big players that are still opposed to the single currency. I subscribe to the single currency.
Right,
Liberia,
absolutely.
my nation, my country,
this
supports
is really,
single currency.
Yeah, absolutely a commendable, initiative, I would say, for the ECOWAS region. But how about other member states that may not be able now to reach the 2020 target of meeting the microeconomic criteria now to join the single currency chain? What happens to them?
And that is why the authorities of head of state have agreed that by 2020, those countries that are ready will commence the process. So if you're ready to move off the single currency, we commence the process and others will follow. But again, I come back to say, I'm here with one of my senators from Liberia called Senator Steve Zago, and he always refers to Liberia whenever he addresses Nigeria, rather. He says, big brother Nigeria. I believe that Nigeria takes the lead. We will follow. When Nigeria sneezes, the region catches cold. When Nigeria coughs, we all, catch cough. So Nigeria, again, cannot be seen as a white elephant. Nigeria has to take the lead. Nigeria has to play that leadership role. Today, my country enjoy peace today. We had a peaceful democratic transition in more than 70 years. And today we can boast of democracy in Liberia because of the role Nigeria played in Liberia, in Gambia, in Sierra Leone, in Cote d'Ivoire. So you have to play that role. You cannot choose at which stage you are big brother and at which stage you sit on the back bench. So Nigeria has to play that role so that we all can follow. And I can say to you, once Nigeria takes that lead, I know Liberia will follow, I know the Gambia will follow, I know Sierra Leone will follow. And there are 5 English-speaking countries in our region right now.
Okay, all right.
4 are strong.
Right.
That's Nigeria and Ghana.
Right.
And then Liberia, Gambia, and Sierra Leone will follow. So once Nigeria takes the lead,
everything follows into
that
play.
Liberia, Gambia, Sierra Leone will follow, and then others can join them.
All right, and that's where we leave it for now. Thank you very much, Edwin Snowe, a member of Parliament Liberia for the ECOWAS Parliament going on in Abuja. Thank you very much for your time. And unfortunately, we couldn't bring in our guest via Skype, Nameka Obiariri. I'd like to thank my guests as well, all the same for trying to reach out to us and make their contributions known on the show. Now, with the world an ever-shrinking global village, Africa must look within and take advantage of regional opportunities to grow relevance and strengthen independence. In reaching and ensuring greater heights within the sub-region, ECOWAS needs to be more effective in seeing that political stability, regional cooperation and economic integration become tools to lift millions out of poverty. And that is our package for tonight. But don't forget to join the conversation as usual on Twitter at TVC News NG, and follow me for updates around Africa at Esther TVC News. Until the next one, again, I am Esther Omokwariola, and always remember, Africa can only get better.